Hey everyone, sorry for being so late on my follow-up war video. My faction actually did quite well in my opinion. We ended up coming 7th as a faction and came 1st as a region. We did notice some lulls in activity in our faction as well as other factions. It seems that although some people have been able to make the adjustments to their teams with the AI, there are many people who were not able to. Part of this comes from not having the available tunes in order to make an effective team. It still blows my mind that many of the free-to-play and light spenders do not have a human shield, guardian, decapitation, or even a disarm tune. These are still tunes that are considered premier tunes, although they're almost a necessity in order to be competitive. Now, we have had Regina in the last season store and Leon in this one. But for many players, these tunes are out of reach based on how many season tokens they cost. And with these new premier tunes that are coming out, that are getting better and better, it becomes even more difficult for light spenders, free-to-play, and even some of the heavy spenders to remain competitive as well as motivated to play. It almost feels like you need to have a new tune in order to progress. And now you can look at my war token pull. My last two pulls were violets, but this one was Mercer. I was very happy with this pull, as he is a tune that I don't have, but desperately wanted. I will probably include him in my Horde's defense team, because of his defensive stats, vitality, as well as his rush. And now I'm going to show a few of my matches in war at 1.5 times the current speed. This first team that you see is my bleed team. I found it to be very effective against a lot of the Negans, Zacharys, and fast-rushing teams, because it allows me to control them as well as bleed them out, which means I can ignore the defensive stats on all the tunes. I was able to utilize a Lacerator on this team in order to bleed them out faster. I actually changed Davy's weapon to be attack and defense along with his bleed. This next team that I utilize is a simple team but can be very effective under the right circumstances. Here I utilize Sean to try and use his rush to take out all the tunes with one attack. With no free-to-play 6-star strong melee team lead, it's very difficult to run this team by using a 5-star Negan. This next team I actually utilized in war about 50% of the time. Whenever I saw a Zac or a Negan or any other of the new premier tunes, I ended up using this team for the turn 1 confuse. With the yellow tower that was available that gave a plus 20% attack to all fast characters, it enabled this team to be even more effective. Michelle and Charlie were my heavy hitters. Priya and Charlie were my main control tunes, with Priya being able to confuse the enemy and Charlie being able to taunt on attack. By utilizing Kate, I was able to keep my team focused with bonus attack with her rush. It also allowed me to keep Charlie's HP over 75% most of the time. This team was definitely not the fastest team. It usually took about a minute in order to kill the enemy, and sometimes a little more and sometimes a little less. In my opinion, with the AI change, we need to forget about what we considered a fast attack before and instead go back to reliable attacks. I know this will be challenging for a lot of players because many people before the AI change were autoing teams, but now we are forced to manually attack most of them. And also with the AI change, it seems like the defense centralizes their attack on one particular tune, which can then cripple your offense. So by changing our thought process on what is an effective team, this can help you not just in war, but in raids as well. It will also help you with understanding team dynamics and what works together and what does not. Another reason why I like using Priya is because her confuse can also cause the defense to attack each other. This is especially effective when you have tunes like Zac, who can apply Hemo Bleed to his own team. This can also cause the defense to decapitate themselves or apply status issues to each other. This next match in war, I end up slowing down to the normal pace that I attacked it at. So this video I actually ended up showing in one of my team building chats. But I also found out later that someone had used this video in order to try and get into one of the top-ranked factions. Firstly, this team isn't good enough for one of the teams that qualified for WOC. I am a decent player, but I still lack in many different areas of this game. I was very flattered to hear that someone had used my video, but at the same time a little disappointed. It looks like in the future I will have to leave a watermark on most of my videos. Now, I am pretty proud of this team and its ability to take out some of the more challenging teams, even though it is a team composed of only free-to-play toons that were easily obtainable. Now, it is a challenging team to run because I have 2 5-stars on the team, but because Priya has stun on her weapon, it makes her less of a target, which means the AI won't kill her first. Now, back to a video at 1.5 times the raid speed. It's just another example of me using the previous team to kill some of the more challenging teams that are composed of some of the new premier toons, specifically Raven. Now, this team is very interesting on defense because Mercer is a huge tank, and I don't think that I could have beat this team if I didn't have the plus 20% attack given to all fast characters. And when you factor in Guardian Shield Rick, who is an active reviver, as well as Regina, who can decapitate your team, the enemy becomes more challenging to handle because I don't have a decapitate toon in order to keep the opponent down. As you see, Regina is revived by Guardian Rick. This causes my Michelle to die and me to be down to 4 toons. I utilize Charlie's active skill in order to apply a 100% heal reduction to Mercer. This prevents him from using his vitality, which heals him every turn. In this next match, I come across the new Lydia, who gives AP both on attack and defense as her lead skill. The combination of Raven and Negan is interesting, because Raven effectively prevents you from rushing by not allowing you to gain AP when attacking, but Negan, his ability Payback, is only activated if you do rush him or use an active skill that does at least 30% damage to him. I ended up running a bleed team because it ignores defense and does not need to rush in order to be effective. This goes for burn as well. The difference is burn does not stack, but if you kill an enemy that has burn applied and there are still turns left on the burn damage, it will spread to an adjacent toon. This team is a challenging team to face because Gabriel has a rush that can remove all penalties. This includes bleed and burn damage. Add in the new Generation 2 6-star, Olivia, who has the new ability Slow, which makes it more difficult to rush. This team becomes very difficult to beat in a timely fashion. My team is able to beat this team by combining both bleed damage, normal damage off rushes from Charlie and Michelle, as well as Davy, and then also having a fair amount of control in order to prevent the enemy from rushing or reviving. In my last video, where I spoke about the new Alert Negan, I recommended putting on a bleed resist mod, and this is why. My bleed team is able to effectively take down this double Negan team. I limit my rushes so that I don't receive any payback from either Negan. I concentrate my fire on Nick because Nick has the ability to command any of the other toons. The one Negan rushes and gives plus 75% defense to the other 3 toons. I attempt to rush Negan using Michelle and apply more than 30% damage to Negan. This causes payback to occur, but I'm also able to stun the enemy with my 4 toons still alive. I end up winning the match. Thank you again everyone for watching and listening to my video.